Awesome. All right, let's talk about some putting here. So I've kind of let some of the cat out of the bag with the important things about putting. So I joked the other day, I said there's 5 critical factors in putting. Pace, 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 and line. Okay? In that you're not going to have straight putts too often. I mean, you're going to have straight putts. And when you have straight putts, your pace, as long as the ball gets there, and then it doesn't go ripping past the cup, there's a good chance that ball is going to go in, right? But more often than not, we're always judging some element of break, and if we're judging some element of break, the pace with which we hit the putt is pretty critical, okay? A couple things, and I've talked to you a little bit about this, a couple things that I found over the years when I watch people putt is, whether it's in a tournament at a professional level or it is at the club event, club level, and you're playing in the men's member guest, and maybe you did well in your flight and you've gotten to the horse race, and now there's a couple hundred, maybe there's 100 guys drinking beers watching y'all play. Have you been in that scenario, Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah, your heart gets a flutter there, doesn't it? Little nerves kick in. It's an awesome feeling. That's when you know you're alive, because you're a little anxious. That's when the little bit of fight or flight kicks in, and that's a good thing. First tee when you go play a golf course, especially when it's a tournament, and when you do something neat and you're in the finals, or the last couple of holes means something. Have you guys ever seen somebody step over a putt and maybe it looks kind of like this, where their head and everything's kind of moved with? Sure you have, right? Well, I'm going to tell you that if you know the moments of your putting stroke, the moments of your routine, you're going to do really well, and you're going to putt. You're going to putt way better than average all of the time. And then some days you're going to blow away your buddies how many putts you hole. Okay. So there's a couple of things that are free little apps on smartphones, and I want to talk about those. And I've got a little coaching folder on my phone here, and one of them is basically the metronome. And it's a free app. There's a bunch of free ones on there. I'll start playing this. I'll turn this up so you can all hear. It's just ticking away at 85 beats per minute. And for the guys that have played with me, I've kind of gone through this on the golf course, and I'm not sure how well I'm aiming this stick right now, but I didn't take a whole lot of care in setting it up. I probably should have. But if you want to come right around in front of me here, you'll get a better visual of this. There's kind of a 0 point on this, and there's kind of inches going back and inches going through. And frankly, most every putt you're going to hit is going to at least go to 5. I mean, the shortest putt's going to go back to here, and then longer putts are going to go back to the end of the grip. But the point is, everything I'm doing to hit this putt, once I feel like I'm ready, and then I'll say to myself, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So to me, that's a good putt. I did everything I could possibly do to hit a putt solidly. What was the one problem with that putt? A little bit of alignment. Okay, are you going to be perfect aligning a putt every time? No, you're not. I wish you could be. The fact is, you're going to be pretty darn good 4, 5, 6 footers, because it's just easier to hit a 4.5 inch margin from there. But I think if this thing's about right, and I've aimed it properly. So there's the first one went in. So, okay, 2 out of 3 from a machine that no variables changed there. Two went in, which is better than usual from that distance actually, and 1 didn't.
Lift it.
Yeah, lift it. Now I know it'd be interesting to give you all this thing to go play golf with and say, okay everybody,
This is my putter.
this is your putter, and I'm going to let you aim it, and then I'm going to let you pick a stroke length. And I took a couple tries, and I just kind of figured after a couple of attempts that 11 was good. And it took me a couple of chances to get it. This is rare that I roll these all in. Usually I miss 1 or 2 of these. But sometimes, when I set it up, that's pretty cool.
It's the group.
It is. It's clearly the group. Good mojo. But there's perfect aim and perfect, energy. Okay, well, energy as it relates to putting, you know, the elements of energy is how this putter swings in our particular, you know, you can call it tempo, rhythm, timing, you know, the tempo. So here's my, and I'm going to tell you the critical pieces of this. I'm going to shut this thing off just for a second. But I really want you to work into your routine, and there's 4 bits to this, okay? Well, actually 5. There's the commitment of saying I'm ready. Are you ready? Okay, say you're ready. You don't have to tell everybody. I mean, I talked it out just for the purposes of showing you what I was going to show you the other day. But ready. 1, 2, which is 1 is precisely when the putter head draws back. Not 1, it's 1. Putter head comes away, 1. Putter head strikes the ball, 2. Eyes are peacefully down, 3. Eyes track the ball, 4. So if I was to say the critical pieces to any stroke would be these ones. Once I feel like I'm ready, not ready yet, I'm getting cozy, do whatever little shake you want to do. When you're ready, say ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? I loved everything about that. What was wrong with that one? Good. You know, so you said you said length of the backswing. You know what most people say? You didn't hit it hard enough. That's what I usually hear. I don't want to hit putts. I want to, if I was going to create a putting machine, it would look like this. I'd figure up some like trapeze thing like this that I could put a pin through a putter, and then I could swing it just like a pendulum. So is there any hit involved with this other than what Newton would describe as, you know, something affected by gravity? So there's no actual energy added to this, is there? And I'm going to try to encourage you guys to realize that you don't need to try to add any energy to try to accelerate on the through stroke. And you've heard that a lot in putting, and you know, Gary Player, you know, one of the best players of all time, you need to pop your putts. You need to accelerate to your putts. You got to accelerate. You know, and he's very, you know, what Gary Player says is gospel to Gary Player, right? And that's perfect. But if you're going to build a putting machine, would you build a machine that went and tried to accelerate it into a ball? Hell no. It'd be very much pendulum-like. You know, which leads to the question from the other day, Martin, do you kind of lock it all in and do you feel like very rigid? No, I'm flesh and bones. There's moving parts. It's a soft machine. You know, do I feel like, and I mentioned the thing to you guys the other day, I feel like everything's hand inspired in the short game. You know, I don't try to take my hands out of it, but when you watch me putt, you know, I've got these grips I love, by the way. You know, my hands are on pretty darn softly, and you know, I'm holding on the way to the putter, and I'm ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, do I feel like that energy came out of my left shoulder, out of my right boobie? Man, I don't know. You know, there's a conscious piece that you're going to have to employ initially to say what starts your putting stroke. An effective one for somebody that's trying to feel this, that might want to build their putting skills, is maybe to think, okay, left shoulder down, left shoulder down, left shoulder down. But again, when I come back to the 4, you know, the 5 things of putting and the 4 critical pieces, pace is huge, okay? So I want you to learn how to benchmark your pace. How are you going to learn how to benchmark your pace? You're going to do, the first thing is, we got to be hitting the putts pretty much in the center of the face. Okay, I could get some face spray, and why don't you go grab the face spray and we'll spray out these putters. We got 1 white face, 2 white faces, other than that. And you know, those, so, you know, never mind, we've got funky grooves and white faces. So, I mean, all good putters, but white face spray doesn't help that much. The point is, what I want you guys to learn, and some of you have all read it in Dave Pell's material, because it's great. When he studied the best putters, he realized, hey, they all have the same tempo. Whether they're hitting a 2-footer or whether they're hitting a 60-footer. In other words, the putter went back and struck the ball in the same timing. For a short putt, went back a little bit, struck the ball, you know, with that little bit of motion in that same tempo, as opposed to a 60-footer, went back quicker, hit the ball in that same bit of motion. So, as goofy as it sounds, when I walk onto a green, guess what? I'm getting into a rhythm for how I'm about to hit a putt. And I go through it every single time. And the reason is, that it helps me understand how much energy is going to go into the ball when I hit it. You don't question.
I mean, interrupt. Same amount of backstroke, same amount of through stroke. Balanced stroke, as I call it, on each side of the ball.
On the other side of the ball, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Okay. So when I'm going through my rhythm, so here's a shorter putt. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Here's a longer putt. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So rhythm was the same. What changed? And honestly, I don't even give thought to what happens after the ball's gone.
Is that right? Okay.
My thought is where my eyes are on 3, track the ball on 4.
On the count.
Yeah, on the
That's
count.
what you're focused on. The rest of it.
You know, it's a process that takes away from extraneous thought, like failing, like missing. Why not just bury your mind in something that you know is functional and positive, and that you can give yourself a way to go if you did it right. Because I want you guys to give yourselves a bunch of way to goes. Right now, for you learning how to play golf, newbie playing golf, after retiring, is to say, hey, this is a way to go. I took care to get organized over the golf ball. The way to go isn't in hitting a perfect shot yet, because how many perfect shots are you going to hit? The way to go is, hey, this was awesome. Oh, I missed rats. I'll do better next time. But that's great, man. I'm doing that really, really well. Okay, so the way to go in this is the routine. If you go through your routine, and you don't have to, mine's 10 pieces, okay? Aaron's is 7. Some of y'all just like to do the ready 1, 2, 3, 4, because it might seem like an eternity to go through what I go through. But when you watch me putt, was it an eternity? Or, was it abnormally long, or was this some guy standing over a putter? It might be a hair long, might be whatever.
This is the base. From there, you can figure your own.
Right.
Yeah.
So, back to benchmarking distance, okay? When you stand over a putt, you don't traditionally vary your stance much, right? So you've got something down in your periphery that you can use as a benchmark. This is the golfer's toolbox. It's a handy-dandy little deal. Professionals use it all the time because professionals practice things specifically all the time. That's why they're very good at what they do, right? But in this scenario, I'm using this as an example. I don't use something like this in my feet because I've got a foot that basically is in the exact same place every single time I step up to a putt underneath my right hip. Now, if you have a wider stance, great. As long as, this technique works really well unless you vary where your right foot goes all the time, okay? So when I set up over a putt, it's probably within a half an inch of this every time. I'd be amazed if it got out as far as 3/4 of an inch, okay? So knowing that, when I go through when I start putting, I don't putt to a hole. And I always say I never miss a putt before I go play, ever. I never ever miss a putt before I go play. You know why? Don't putt to a hole. I putt to a coin. I putt to something like this. That doesn't qualify as missing. That's a little target. So I putt to something like that when I'm going through my stroke length and going through my striking it solid to something like that. Those are critical putts to hole when you play golf, because you're going to have, this is your second putt. You're going to have this as your, after you've hit a decent chip, you're going to have this putt. You're going to have a variety of this length putt. Why not bring your focus into something tiny? Great Harvey Penick said, aim small, miss small. Or maybe somebody else said that, but he was the one that, put it in his book, and that's where I remember it from.
I use a tee.
A tee's good. When I putt, I never, the only time I putt to a hole is from this far away, 4 or 5 times before I go, because I don't miss from there. And I like to listen to it go in, just to hear the ball rattle and settle in the bottom of the hole. That's pleasing to me. So never putt to a hole, and I hope you guys don't either. Putt to a coin, putt to a tee, putt to the fringe. Bob Rotella, in his book, said, hey, putt to the fringes to fill distance. And that's a great way to go, because it's something that does kind of arc away from you. Generally, putting greens are round, and when you start in one place, you can putt, and it arcs away, and it gives you a different variable of distance and a different variable of stroke length. So kind of back to what we're doing here, and I want Tony to be my guinea pig on this. So when I step in here and when I just roll a putt to nowhere, because I know there's a hole down there, but I'm not really putting to it. I'm just going through my ready, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When I'm doing that, I'm seeing my putter kind of move out to my pinky toe on my right foot. Now, if it's rolling out to the pinky toe on my right foot every time, and I'm not adding gas to it, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those things are going to go pretty equal distance. Okay, pretty much going to go into the same little zone there, unless I change my stroke length to a degree. Okay, and I wasn't really focused on my first stroke length, but believe me, when you're not adding, and this sucker's going back in the same exact rhythm, whether it be 80 beats per minute like a Ben Crenshaw or a Aaron Olson, or whether it be 90 beats per minute more like a Brant Snedeker, or whether you kind of fall between 80 and 90 like most golfers do, if your stroke length is always in that area, you're going to putt balls the same distance a great percentage of the time. Why do we three putt? What's the biggest thing that leads to three putts, Gary?
I have no idea. I do.
Well, we all do, but that's
Get it
great.
close enough on the first.
Sure, so it's not left and right. It's short and long. We leave them 6 feet short, or we hit them 6 feet long, or worse, right?
Exactly.
You don't miss long putts usually by that far left and right, unless it's really long and there's a bunch of break into it. Generally you're going to leave it short 10 feet or hit it past 10 feet, and then, now the odds, even the best putters in the world have a hard time holing more than 50% from 10 feet. Okay, so stroke length and rhythm is critical. Hitting it in the center is critical. So let's talk that piece before we go into, alignment and green reading and where to aim. Is that fair?
Sure.
So Tony, be my guinea pig. Come on up here for a sec.
You see me putt. That's the problem.
Well, we're going to have some fun with this and move this guy out of the way.
We're all going to get a turn, Tony. So
Oh, everybody gets a turn.
Everybody gets a turn.
So I'm going to turn on the metronome, and it's just kind of right in the middle of the wheelhouse here. Okay, so no ball yet. Just go ahead and come on the other side of this stick and get kind of centered. And I did see you putt, and I saw you make a couple putts the other day. I thought you were a pretty good aimer, which was nice. Okay, so you've got a nice aiming feature on that putter, which some people really like, some people don't. But a lot of guys, I think it was Podring Harrington, took a putter like this, put that stripe on it, and then they just started making them that way. So go ahead and set up. So I'm going to show you the first bits of this. I'm going to grab the putter, and I'm going to say, and I'm getting in rhythm. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the back and through is great. Now we got to keep our eyes settled for the 3 and up on the 4. Okay? So let's keep this stationary just for a second, and let's visually, just mentally go through the back, through, 3, 4. Ready, back, through, 3, 4. So 3 is eyes down, 4 is eyes tracking. 3 eyes down, 4 eyes tracking. So this is not easy, fellas. So it's,
Yeah, I can't dance, so this is going to be tough for me.
well, you can count. I guarantee you, if you can count your math, you do books and you do, high level stuff like that. So this is purely a math function. And I don't expect you to be Michael Jackson, but I do expect you to say, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to walk you through this. Go ahead and set up to it.
Okay.
And where everybody kind of makes the first initial boo-boos on this is they don't stay peaceful on 3 and track on 4. Again, peaceful on 3, track on 4. So I'm kind of getting in rhythm. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Way to go. See, you got rhythm. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little early on the 4. But let me ask you this question. If you gave this even a hint, even the teeniest bit of effort, do you think you'd be any good at this?
Yeah.
You're darn right you would be.
Yeah, it's like anything else.
It's like anything
Give
else.
it a half hour or whatever.
If you gave this a half hour, you're ready, 1, you're ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, it'd be brilliant.
That's crucial right there, the
Okay.
metronome.
The
In
metronome
beginning,
is,
so you get an internal clock.
it really is, and pretty soon you don't need the metronome because you'll be snapping, it'll be right on rhythm every time. And this is something that you don't even have to be in the putting green to do. George Knudson used to say, God, I got a lot of great practice done in my car thinking about my practice prior to getting to the range or on my way home. And I know that you laugh, but when you're processing mentally, there's all kinds of studies. coach has been like that whole basketball free throwing thing that they did. Just had kids think about throwing free throws. It was almost as good as actually kids practicing free throws.
I'm not going to be able to go to sleep tonight because I'm going to be thinking of that 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
I'm going to see that putter.
You know,
I'm going to hear it in the car.
But
Yeah.
if you can get that automated, and here's the thing of comfort for this: when you have a putt that means something, and you walk up to the putt, and you watch any great free throw shooter or any great anything, they go into a routine that's automated.
They forget about the hole and making it.
They're into a process.
Yes.
You know, and if you can, Phil Mickelson jokes about controlling his roll. You know, and he's not talking about the roll of the ball. He's talking about himself. You know, if he controls his roll, which is what his process, that's when he has his best. You know, we can all talk about him missing putts, but he's also won 40 times.
Sure.
So he ain't bad, right?
I'll be making some.
Yeah, he's making some. So, like, the point is, if you have a putt under the heat, or a putt whenever, and you go through the same process, for one, if you make it, yay. If you don't make it, you still give yourself an attaboy for just doing it right.
Exactly.
And then if you give a putt the moment of respect it deserves to strike it, which is, wherever it falls in your particular count, that's up for you to develop. Okay? The ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be ready, A, B, C, D. Could be ready, hot dogs, bananas, ice cream, I don't care what it is, as long as the tempo and timing of it is the same. And then how you fit it into your routine, everybody does it differently.
Customize it, sure.
Absolutely, customize it. But if you step over a putt and you fidget a bit and you get ready to go and you say ready, you go through your routine, and it goes in or doesn't go in, there's a sense of pride that you did everything you could do. Now maybe you didn't judge your stroke length properly. Maybe you didn't see the break the way it could have been. But at least you did what you could do, and then you know what you made a boo-boo on.
You're improving your chances.
Yes, you're greatly improving your chances. So what I want you to do is, this is a neat thing to do in twosomes, okay? For a lot of reasons. We're going to work on the ready 1, 2, 3, 4 together. But coach, okay, so you're going to be my partner, right? Now watch this. Say I'm going to putt one, that has to get to that hole. And you're going to watch me do this. It's amazing how we are with this. So if I go through, okay, let's see, okay, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to say, well, you can do better. You might even consider snapping for your partner, right?
Right.
And I can turn the metronome on. You can hear it in the background. It'll kind of drive you nuts, though, because you kind of you have to get into the rhythm of the thing. Or how about this? Okay, if he does a practice stroke, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's that ball going to go? Are you sure? Okay, so I'll tell you what's fascinating is even high-level players, when I watch them on the green or watch them around the green, and I watch them get into their little pre-shot and their little stroke lengths they're picking before they hit a shot. I've had, when I say high-level, like college players, I see amazing disassociation between what they need to do and what they're trying to feel at the moment. So when you step back and you watch as a coach, you'll see it too. You don't have to be a high-level coach to see it. Your brain knows that to make this putt in that hole a stroke length about like that is what it needs. Yet when we're on a putting green, sometimes we can't feel it ourselves. But yet we can do this and watch you stroke it and go, that's not enough stroke length.
You can't see yourself.
You're going to have to add gas to that, and that's what people do. They take a stroke length that doesn't make sense, and then what do you think they do? They try to add some speed because, again, we're only, I'm going to guess 10% conscious. Our brain's operating at 10%, like consciously, and the rest of it's processing a jillion things. And it jumps in there and says, Mayday, not enough stroke length, and you might give it just the right amount of gas and it's a great putt. Or you might, rip it 10 feet by. The point is, if you can mimic the motion in your rhythm, there's a pretty good chance, and you kind of go into a little brain dead process of going through your routine. So I know that if I get ready, and I aim this thing up to where I'm comfortable, and I'm ready, and I swing this outside my right foot a little bit in my routine, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's a comfortable stroke length to make that putt. It doesn't freak me out. I'm not worried about how hard to hit it. Not worried about leaving it 4 feet short or hitting it 8 feet by. Now there's putts on precipices and crowns and that are really tough to get the right stroke length, and they can make you a bit more like, oh God, pick the right one and just go with it. And those ones you're taking a bit more leap of faith and you're just letting it happen. But it's nice to know that when you have a little bit idea about stroke length and timing, that you can make the ball react kind of the way you want it to react without fear of an embarrassingly long putt or one that's wickedly short. Questions so far? Okay. So Coach, if you saw this, and I'm saying 5, 6, 7, 8 because 5, 6, again, I'll go through my routine for you. I'll count it out. I do whatever. Sometimes, I always take my practice strokes back there because to me it makes more sense visually. I don't take them at the ball. I step into the golf ball. I'm always just trying to start the golf ball over something. Okay, because out there doesn't mean much. I want it to go in ultimately. When the greens are this pure, there's not a whole lot to pick from, but there's a couple little things in here. So when I'm walking in to find, how I'm going to get into my ready position, I'm more interested in what's a foot ahead of me or 2 feet ahead of me, and that's it. So when I try to cozy this putter in with great precision, and then I'll do one to a little spot, and then I'll look up and go, okay, that feels good. And then when I'm ready, this time I'll give myself a second or two, and it might be different. But when I'm ready, I'm ready, and that's when everything just kind of goes into motion. Whether it goes in or not, it's into motion. So for Coach, as a teammate of mine, helping me with stroke length, if I go into my 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he might say, well, Martin, that looks a little strong. Okay, I'll do another one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's a little on the soft side, Martin. I think you need a bit more stroke length to make that ball go the right distance. Is that fair enough? When you guys do this with each other, you'll see what I mean. And you can do the same thing with chipping and pitching. You'll be able to judge it visually, stepping back, looking at somebody, whether it's how we judge their levers or whatever we're judging. It's amazing how accurate we are stepping back and watching this. Okay, let's do this little deal, and the pieces I want you thinking about are ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. So everybody put their putter on their hip for a second, hands up here like this. Okay, so when I say, if I put the clock back on, I should hear these claps right on the same. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad for a group of white guys. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. I made a Canadian guy. It was out of. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really good. So that if you can stand there in your mind and go, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it gets a little harder, but now we're going to go, we're engaging when our eyes are looking down for a moment of peace, respecting, striking the golf ball, then we're tracking the ball. So that might say, well, Martin, your head's down for a 1 count. It's just in a second. It's less than a second. It is. I don't see 3-footers go in. I may catch a 4-footer go in if the green is kind of slow. You see?
Sure.
And then I pick it up about 5 or 6 feet. So short ones I don't necessarily see them go in. Certainly out of my conscious vision, I might see them topple in out of something happening over here because my fingers, I can see them moving around. But it's not like my conscious vision goes to the golf ball. Okay? So anyway, partner up. We'll just why don't we separate the brothers just for the fact of doing that. Why don't you two guys go together, you two together, and you two together. And get your golf balls, and we're just going to do the ready 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's get two of you up here on this flat up here. We're not putting to any particular hole, we're just putting along this flat. Okay, now you guys can maybe say we're going to, our goal is to just tumble the ball onto the fringe from where we want to start. So maybe you start here, and you go that way, and then, cut it up the hill and go What I want you guys to be watching for is
I don't.
Pretty flat towards the fence.
and then what I want Tony to do.
Do we need a hinge point?
Yeah, we roll it to the fringe.
Oh, friend.
Yep. Roll it to the
Okay, you
fringe.
two.
Fringe
You
point.
got Gary. You got those two. Tony,
First,
Gary.
let me go first.
Go ahead.
You two come with me.
I'll go off you. So we're gonna hit a putt, and it's just gonna be a short putt. I'll give you a target length. Say you're gonna roll it. You know, kill it at this stick. Did you bring your golf balls?
I did.
How many you bring?
3.
Perfect. Let's put them on the ground. Okay, putt better down there.
Do they?
Yeah, good.
Oh.
Okay.
You can play with them in your pocket. Do as your other one.
So, come on over. I'm not going to be the one putting, you are. So what I want Jake to do here is watch you take a couple of practice strokes. And I want you to call it out. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So set up right here. Okay? Feel comfortable? Good. So you would say ready.
Ready.
1, 2, 3. So where's this 3? Oh,
Your base.
sure you did. Guess what? Everybody does. Let's do it again.
Ready. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so the moments were all there. Was the tempo there, Jake? No, so that's what you're helping with, right?
Ready. 1, 2.
So you could tell there that was quite jacked up, wasn't it? Okay.
I felt like your rhythm.
It went back nice, but it
It
went
was kind of like one.
forward fast.
Kind of like one.
Two. Yeah,
And
that's
you
what I
even,
thought.
you even said two. That'll
Ready.
hit the two.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Way to go. Very close. So let's put a ball. Let's get a ball in the way of that.
Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, pretty good.
That's soft. Yeah.
Okay, you're his coach, Jake. Don't be shy.
Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Before you get into this one, help you set up the ball. You want to play this one.
Ready.
Stand
1,
straight up.
2,